Welcome once again to Living in the 21st Century. Joining me today is Inga, and Inga is my interviewer for this special edition of Living in the 21st Century. Inga, please.
Hi, my name is Inga Puzikov. The name of the company is Inga Designs, and I have been an artist and a jewelry maker for a few decades now. Have been on TV, have been on the radio, but this is the first time that I'm going to be interviewing somebody, and it's a huge honor that Errol asked me to do that interview with him, for him. I'm super excited. Don't judge me. First time, but I think we're going to do well. So, being an artist, I'm always curious, how did it start? Where did it come from? What inspired you? Why art?
Well, art had always been a part of my life ever since I was a school kid. But as I grew up from one stage to the other, choose other different paths of careers, art had took the background. Most recently, why my profession led me back into the form of art, and that's being a dementia practitioner. I found the importance of art, both from an expressive, creative, and mind-stimulative form of living, especially for those in the dementia setting. Art has a very influential impact on their lives. It is mind-stimulative. It not only suits those who are suffering from dementia, but also have a powerful impact on those who may be even in psychiatric facilities. Art is a part of human life, and it serves a very vital role. It doesn't matter wherever you go. You can just get off an airplane, go straight to a hotel, all jet lagged, tired, and you sit in the hotel lobby, maybe even in your room, only to recognize you see a beautiful piece of painting on the wall, and it starts to put your mind in a different realm, and you start to see things a little bit differently. It helps you to relax, it calms your body. Now the reality now of art, again, different colors got different impacts, right? So there are some form of art, the same very way, it can have a positive impact on some person's mind. It can also have a negative impact on the person's mind, and it can also cause them to be triggered. And this can happen also in places like psychiatric hospitals, and even in dementia care settings or in skilled nursing facilities. So even though it is good, you have to know what and where and when to present that piece of art and your audience.
Correct. And I noticed, I got a chance to look at your art. Mm-hmm. I even came up with an outfit to complement it. I wanted something very ethnic and very bright, and I noticed some pieces, you have a few different collections. Your art is very multifaceted, and some pieces, they're very ethnic and very bright colors. And I understand you're coming from Barbados.
Yes.
And there was a piece that especially struck me. It was about an independence. I just wanted to talk a little bit about that.
Sure. Yes, the piece that we have talked about, it appears to be somewhat primitive. And really and truly that art is about probably, it took me back to when I was really a kid growing up, 2-3 years in my early life. And where I grew up, it was in an old plantocracy kind of system. And what that really means is that the people, or my parents and the people that were in my community, were now creeping out of the old plantocracy time or the old slave era. What happened then is that it had a very negative impact on my life. Even though now I grow older, it has a positive impact on my life. At that stage, opposite where I used to live in that picture, which I think I've shown you, diagonally to that there is a vault who had buried an old slave master more than 300 years was buried in this vault, and his name was Isil Williams. That's his name. Cameron was 1627, speaking subject to correction, the exact year. But in my early years of living there, my life was haunted up to the first 11 years of my life. I couldn't even sleep at night. It was awful. It had a very negative impact. Spiritually, I wouldn't know about this until I grew old and started to analyze things, but there was a direct portal from that vault straight to my house. So that had a very demonic and haunted impact in my early childhood years. But in this time and season I'm living in, as a preacher and a man of God, I now understood why that happened, because beside the natural and physical realm I live in, I also live in a spiritual realm. So I see things and understand things even though they are not manifested yet in the natural eyes of people. I am gifted with the discerning spirit to even understand what a person is thinking or trying to say it even before they say it. That awareness, spiritual awareness, is a part of my spiritual DNA. And this all happened by being able to see demonic spirits and what they are capable of through my childhood years. So that had been ingrained in me as a child spiritually up to this same level of my life.
Thank you for sharing that. That is a very interesting and very deep experience that you went through, but I think this is something that shaped you as an artist, but also as a person from your early childhood. And it is amazing to see how you evolve and was able to take something so powerful and perhaps negative and turn it into something positive, not only through preaching, right, and bringing some kindness and understanding into this world, but also through your art, because no matter what history is, we have to honor it.
Absolutely.
And we have to take it from our roots. And perhaps when you turn it into art, it also helps people to remember.
Absolutely.
So that was a special experience and a special piece. And now we're talking about you growing up and becoming more of a professional person and more of a talents that you have and bring to this art. So you already touch upon it a little bit, working with people with dementia. And I understand you're a certified dementia practitioner.
Yes.
And you have a very big job being a director in a skilled nursing facility.
Absolutely.
So this is a very big, very important job. So I understand people that work there and patients, they all have been cheering you on, yeah, and they love your art, and you have a feedback. You have a very important feedback from these people. So tribal pieces with bright colors and geometric shapes, they bring one kind of a, you know.
So that goes right back to sensory. And my art would take on several dimensions that not only represent the natural nature, but also the biological and psychological aspect of life. Sensory art are art that designed specifically to speak to the mind. It embraces the mind, and the mind responds back to it in that same form. What sensory art does, it can take, now we have something in the nursing homes, probably may have heard about it. It is called sundowning. So every evening when the sun is going down, it has a little bit terrorness impact on the minds of the residents. And this can also happen even in mental institutions, right? And they can get flustered, they can be agitated at anything, they can become, they can even claw at you, get violent. All these kind of things that happen in the process of what we call sundowning, right? Because there's a gravitational pull not only on the moon, there's certain times when the moon is full, it has a very negative impact on people's minds, and people in mental institutions will go crazy. I mean, literally flip out, right? It has the same impact in people in the nursing homes, but specifically speaking about the sun, when that have the tendency of going down, people get agitated a lot. What best can we speak to the mind with? A piece of art, and that's why it's called sensory. It what the eye sees, it respond to is like biologically built into you. It doesn't matter what frame of mind you are in, whether you are a dementia patient or Alzheimer's patient or a mental patient or a normal person. It doesn't matter who you are as a person. Art has an impact, and the perception of your eyes make you biologically respond differently. It could be mind stimulative that could get you active, or it could be mind relaxing that can put you in a cool, calm state of mind. So if you see a nice piece of art that represents forestry or a park with people with a fountain or even a waterfall like behind us.
I love that waterfall, such a great color.
Absolutely, right? It makes you imagine things. Oh, I could be there right now. I would just relax. But as you saying that, and you can say, I would just relax. You're actually relaxing with it, right?
Yes.
The person may not be in a position to speak and tell you what they're going through. Because most dementia patients at a certain time in their life, they give up that sense of speaking. But their mind are still engaged of what's going on around them. It's like a person who are dying on their bed. They can't move, they can't speak, they can't say anything, but they're still here, hearing everything that's going on around them.
And I think that's what makes your art so unique, is that you have a special way of looking at the art with a perception that how people would be reacting on it because of your background. For example, dementia patients are very good about remembering something of the childhood, but might not remember what they had for breakfast. I had my dear grandma suffering from that, so I kind of learned a little bit about those things. And when the art brings them back to their childhood, that automatically gives them comfort.
Absolutely. Definitely it gives them comfort. And sometimes also, art has a historic balance to it too. You can preserve history and the appearance of history and what you have lived through in the form of art. And you can go right back and say, oh, I can remember that piece of art. I can remember the days when they were existing that time. That's probably in the 16th century or the 18th century. Arts have a way of speaking to you mentally. And it doesn't have to say a word. You just look at the picture.
That's what I wanted to say. Art speaks many languages, something we don't have to learn as English or as any other language. Art is art. It has its own language. And it's not your pieces, they're great for patients. And like you mentioned, they have certain feelings and definitely sensory part is there. But it's just as great for a fancy hotel. When people come in and they look at some vibrant and fancy and multicolored art, and they want to be more invigorated and happy and bring different kind of feelings.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
there are times where people could, as I said before earlier, people can just get off a plane, maybe a cruise ship. And even if you're on a cruise ship, your rooms have beautiful arts on it.
Exactly.
And this is the beautiful thing about it. Art is therapeutic, right? It's historic preservation. It speaks to the soul. It speaks to the mind. It gets you involved. Even if you're by yourself alone, better yet, that art could bring you out of a phase of loneliness. And it can take you in a phase of imaginary perception, where you can start imagining things. Just that one piece of art, you can look at it and say, wow. Or I can look at that tiger and say, I can imagine what that's doing right now in the jungle. Maybe it's there.
I'm looking at the tiger and say it's matching my outfit.
Right, beautiful. I mean, it complements.
It's bringing my inner tiger out.
That's beautiful. In order to turn a picture word for
we relate
words.
differently to a different type of art. And actually, I'm glad that you kind of started to talk about nature, because I wanted to talk more about part of your series where you have nature and animals, and I can relate to that because I just love nature, So I think as a preacher, you mentioned to me that you always have to be humble and you have to understand nature, people, living things, but God gives you talent.
Absolutely.
And this is something that you cannot bury. If that has been given to you, you have to use it, and you have to use it for good.
Absolutely.
And with you understanding the nature of God's creations, you have a deeper appreciation of things and nature and people and animals and flowers, and that all connected in your art.
Absolutely. And I take that portion very seriously too, because the Word of God declared that let every living thing that has breath praise the Lord. And in a natural world with natural people, or even in a fake perfect world, so to speak, people think that only us as human beings have the right to give God praise and honor and all that stuff. But the trees, they give God praise. Everything they bow their branches, they're giving God praise. We don't know that because we don't speak to the trees, right? The lions and the tigers and the penguins, they have their own form of giving God thanks for the breath that they have in their body. And it's pure, it's sincere. Now, if it had no impact, then there would be no reason why God would say, let every living thing that has breath praise the Lord. The reality is he wasn't referring to human beings, because human beings are not things. We are human beings with souls, and above all other creatures in the earth. But even these little ones, we show love and gratitude to God for bringing them in the earth, and some of them have positive impacts in our bodies. We keep some as pets. We have some in the circus, and so forth. So I try to embrace everything into as one, that we are one creation in the presence of God, and we have to embrace it as one. I have multiple talents. My talents is enormous, but I don't refer to myself as an artist, even though I know I am. I don't refer to myself as a dementia practitioner, even though I am. A mental health specialist that I was before, accounting, financial planning, all that stuff I did before. But I never see these things as one part of me, as separate, different parts of me. I embrace it as one. That's who I am. I remain humble. I don't like to say that I do this and I do that. I'm a humble person in nature. And I take time out to draw and let my imagination flow, and wherever it takes me, I just draw it and document it. And that's what brought me into this place now of having this interview with you today. It's a documentary, and the beautiful thing is now, it's not only going to be a documentary, but all this work would be at Cozy Boutique, which is in Chestnut
Hill Mall. And actually this piece is from there. So
beautiful. So folks know where to go and get the beautiful things,
I love beautiful things, and at Cozy is a very fun boutique. So the next thing that I wanted to talk to you about, you have a very interesting twist in your art. That's all of a sudden, with everything that's nature and related to all the real things, and then boom, all of a sudden we have imaginary character. And who it is but, of course, lovable Mickey and Minnie and all these beautiful characters. Exactly, from the happiest place on earth.
Beautiful.
So everyone loves them. That's easy. But why?
Well, in all of us. That's why I love life so much. In all of us, it doesn't matter how old we get, there's still that little kid at heart. We still have that kid in us.
That is so true.
And the beautiful thing, even though it may be fiction in this art with Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck and Woody Woodpecker and Winnie the Pooh and all these kind of figures, the reality, these things had brought a lot of pleasure to people for all walks of life, whether you go to Disney World or Universal Studios. These are your favorite characters you want to see.
Absolutely.
And these bring joy and happiness to kids when they were growing up. It was a part of their lives. They grow up to adults, they get kids, and they take their kids to see these characters. and they have a special impact on their lives. So while in my exhibition of art, that kid part of me kicked right in and I started to draw these characters, right? I started to put them on paper, not paper, I don't do real paperwork, all this canvas, and make the exact drawing of these characters. And these are priceless pieces. It's hard sometimes to put a price to art, and I'll tell you why. There is art, and then there is the art. And what I mean by that, there are all kind of artists out there who draw all kind of things, and they just put a little price on it just to sell it for something, but it has no soul behind it. It has no appeal behind it. I think when you're going to do something for the market and it's going into commercial aspect, it must appeal to your audience. It must be done in the right way. It must be presented in a right way. It must have a certification of authentication. Some seal on to say, well, this is my signature piece. This is why it's worth something. Just don't look at it as a picture, but this is a part of your life. When you put this piece of art in your house, it says something. It should mean something. So if it means something, there is a price for something, not just any price.
Absolutely.
And that Disney World, and not only for Disney World, but for any other piece of my art, it has meaning and soul behind it because it is creative, it's expressive, and it's mind stimulative. So I think about the whole human anatomy when I work on my art. Because if your mind is at peace and relaxation, your whole body is at peace and in relaxation. You get rid of the stress hormones that give you stress and cause you to get things like pitosis, which is a bulge in your belly, and then you get lumbar lordosis, and all that comes from the stress hormone, right?
Interesting.
Right. So when you have stress, it releases that. It releases a substance called, I can't remember the name of it right now, but it causes your tummy to bulge in the lower abdomen, right? And then...
And we don't want that,
right,
so it's
right.
better to buy art, much cheaper.
Much cheaper, right? And then that put tension on your lower lumbar region and cause you to have, which we refer to as lumbar lordosis, right? So you get rid of pitosis, you get rid of lumbar lordosis, and that's all because of calm mind. Everyone needs to have something in the house to have a calm mind. You're going to pay thousands of dollars for a refrigerator, thousands of dollars maybe for a nice big television, and all these expensive pieces of commercial equipment in your house. But what's really in your house that can put you in a state of relaxation?
True.
You work hard, you
True.
come home from work,
True.
you want to relax. You want to just sit down and relax and look at something and concentrate on it, and brings your body stress down.
And your pieces are one of a kind. So when people get them, from what I understand, there is a certification.
Yes.
And there is all the information on you, why the art, you know, and you have a different perspective when you create that. I remember we spoke once, and going back to my favorite characters from The Happiest Place on Earth. And we were talking about kids with autism, which right now is a big epidemic, unfortunately. And that kid might be in his head, the smartest kid, the most wonderful, beautiful child, and he's dealing with certain issues, anxiety, thinking, and feeling alone, and feeling that he needs that friend.
Absolutely.
And that's when art like this, Mickey, Minnie, Winnie the Pooh, you know, can be the piece that help him to socialize and feel happy and feel safe. I just think it's so important from adults to children to have the art that brings that calmness and happiness and feeling of fulfillment.
Of course. And one thing about autism is that people never get it. Medication, I know I spoke to a doctor like years ago, and they did stem cell research in autism, and it probably did work, which is good. But I see autism, things like autism disease and epilepsy are more than just a physical imbalance in the body or on the anatomy. But I also see this as connected as spiritual. People often see autism kids as aggressive in nature, and I've worked with a lot of them in a mental institution before. I believe there are moments when they're taken to a sensory room and they have sensory material to play with, and most of them like to be by themselves. Their behavior pattern is reshaped, they are different, they are rediverted from doing things that may probably harm themselves. So this kind of art again has a mental rediversion in autism children's mind. I think every autism school should have at least good sensory art inside that room.
Absolutely.
It calms that child from being promiscuous or hurting itself or anyone else, for a matter of speaking.
If that would be up to me, I would take art over medication.
Oh yeah.
We might not be living in this kind of world, but if we could heal with art, I would say that would be the best way to go.
Absolutely. Medication has negative impacts. It helps you one way and hurt you the next, and then you have to find the next small medication to treat that issue. You know, we live in a world of medication, but sometimes art, and I guess that's what it's called, art, right? It's the art of human balance, human expression and relaxation, creative and stimulation, and so forth.
And I just wanted to talk about specific piece, if you would let me. This one, I really love the penguin.
Well, I'm going to summarize this pretty quickly since we don't to the last minute. The penguin, it takes me back to watching a lot of Arctic pictures, and these are the only birds that in the Arctic cold, and I often wonder how they survive, but it's a piece of nature again that tells me that your environment has an impact on your mental stability and mental balance, as well as your anatomy. The penguin is a classic bird to see how nature can have an impact on your body and still survive comfortable in it and within your environment.
And yet it's such a great colors. I love it. It's so cute. It reminds me of a cartoon, Happy Feet.
Happy Feet, okay. I can remember Happy Feet. Yeah.
I think that is great because if we can have the happy feet and dance our way into the art and just embrace everything on this earth that is art and fashion, that is beautiful, that brings people joy, put a smile on your face. How wonderful of a world that would be.
And on that note, I'm sorry, Inga. I want to really thank you today for dropping by and giving me this interview.
That was really, the honor.
Really refreshing.
Thank you so much.
It's beautiful. And to all those who have been living in the 21st century, have a great day.